Hello, and welcome to Adam's Music Box, where it's a really sad day for me in particular because John Lodge of the Moody Blues has just died at the age of 82. Now, the reason that this is particularly poignant for me is the Moody Blues was one of the first bands that I really fell in love with. One of the first bands where I had to have all of their albums, listen to them till they were worn out, knew every lyric, knew every chord, knew every piece of album art. And John Lodge was someone who himself saved the Moody Blues because, of course, there was the original lineup around the core members of keyboard player and later, Mellotron extraordinaire Mike Pinder, drummer Graham Edge, flautist and vocalist and percussionist Ray Thomas, and of course, Denny Lane on vocals. He would later go on to Wings and other things, but he and the original bass player left relatively early on, and the band almost broke apart. But in '66, new blood was injected into the band in the form of John Lodge, a songwriter, bass player, vocalist, harmonist extraordinaire, and of course, at the same time, entered songwriter, singer, guitarist Justin Hayward. And today, with the passing of John Lodge, Hayward is in fact the only surviving member of that classic Moody Blues lineup. Now, John Lodge was a wonderful songwriter, and the Moody Blues, everyone in the Moody Blues wrote songs, everyone sung or did narration in some cases, and so the songwriting palette of the band, if you will, was very much a collective effort because even though many of the songs, in fact, most of the songs were written by individual members of the band, everyone got their turn. There was really no one songwriter that dominated per se. When you look at the writing credits on the albums, that really bears it out. And same with the vocals, particularly Justin Hayward, John Lodge, and Ray Thomas. Their vocals, and Mike Pinder, their vocals just melded together so wonderfully well. Now, some of my favorite Moody Blues songs happen to be John Lodge songs, including my favorite of all, Isn't Life Strange, which rounds out side one of the Seventh Sojourn album, the final of their classic seven albums. Of course, they'd reform later on, but that song is one of the finest songs of all time. It's a love song that is romantic, but without having sentimentality. It is about the essence of life rather than the pathos of loss. Although there is plenty of love and loss in that song, both in terms of the musicality, the chords that John Lodge decided to use, and in his, wonderful vocal performance. He also rounded out side B of that album, side two, with "I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band," one of the band's absolute biggest hits. But just check out all of the different songs that he wrote. "Ride My Seesaw," huge hit, great song. "Stepping in a Slide Zone" from their first reunion, if you will. "Talking Out of Turn." "Candle of Life." What a wonderful song that is. It's something of a deep album track from the two Our Children's Children album, say that three times fast, from 1969. But what a song that is, Candle of Life. If it's wasn't a single, was more of a deep cut, but definitely look at that. Eyes of a Child from the same album was also a John Lodge song. So many others. "House of Four Doors," which was something of a suite of music on the wonderful second album of the classic Moody Blues lineup, "In Search of the Lost Chord." He co-wrote so much of "Days of Future Past," the first album he and Justin Hayward were on when joining the band. And then there was, of course, the album Blue Jays. Now, Blue Jays was a 1975 side project between the two new guys in the Moody Blues, Justin Hayward and John Lodge. They co-wrote it, co-sang it, and it was a fabulous, wonderful album. A Moody Blues album, really, in all but name, although still somewhat different. And that produced the wonderful single "Blue Guitar." A wonderful collaboration there. And of course, a great 1977 solo album by John Lodge was "Natural Avenue," which again, in listening to that album, you can hear just how much of the modern Moody Blues was, in fact, John Lodge. Now, John Lodge was a really good person. He loved music, loved talking about music. There he is with his beautiful Lincoln Continental, and he was a Christian, and he was very sincere about his faith. It didn't come up too much in public interviews, but he credited his Christianity with protecting him from some of the excesses, as he called it, of the rock and roll lifestyle, which he, of course, sung about. And I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band. He was just a really great musician. He loved what he did. The rest of the band and he were just people that there was, especially for those first seven albums, there was just, it was a unit. The band functioned as a unit because they were all on good terms with each other. No real drama, just such great music. And like I said, those first seven Moody Blues albums are some of the finest albums of all time. Wonderful songwriting, wonderful arrangements, wonderful vocal harmonies. Just, you cannot go wrong. They are albums that are classics from an era when there was a lot to contend with. And although 82 is still an old age, his death was described as sudden, which I take to mean unexpected, and it certainly shocked a lot of us, his fans. And so all we can really do is offer our prayers to his family and for his soul and listen to the Moody Blues. Listen to them a lot, especially today. Rest in peace, John Lodge. A beautiful man, beautiful life, beautiful music. Take care, everyone.